Hello and welcome back, and we have another edition of Goji's Thrift Box. So let's see what old toy is coming out of the Thrift Box today. Well, looks like it's about time to talk about Sid and Marty Krofft. Sid and Marty Krofft, two brothers born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, are a team of television creators and puppeteers. Older brother Sid got his start in vaudeville and was a featured player in the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. In the 1940s, Sid created a one-man puppet show called The Unusual Artistry of Sid Krofft. While Sid traveled the world with his show, younger brother Marty was in New York City using his older brother's puppets to earn money by staging performances. By the 1950s, the two brothers were working together, and they developed L'Épopée de Paris, a puppet show with more mature themes. In 1968, the Krofft brothers worked for Hanna-Barbera Productions, producing the characters and sets for the television program The Banana Splits. In 1969, the Kroffts' producing career began with the television series H.R. Pufnstuf. Pufnstuf introduced the brothers' trademark style, which included large-scale, colorful design, puppetry, and special effects. Pufnstuf was the story of a young boy named Jimmy, who was lured into an alternate fantasy world by the evil Witchy Poo, a world from which he can never escape. Jimmy is befriended by the characters of this world, including the mayor of the fantasy world, called the Living Island, who was a friendly dragon named H.R. Pufnstuf. The Pufnstuf series established a storytelling formula that the brothers would often return to, a story of good versus evil. Krofft Brother Productions would become staples of Saturday morning television in the U.S. throughout the 1970s. These television programs included The Bugaloos, Lidsville, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, The Lost Saucer, and my personal favorite, Land of the Lost. The Krofft creations would also often be seen in primetime television as part of various variety shows in the 1970s and early 1980s. These included Donnie and Marie, The Brady Bunch Hour, Pink Lady and Jeff, and Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell Sisters. In 1976, The Krofft Super Show debuted on Saturday morning, September 11th, 1976, and aired for 2 seasons. The Krofft Super Show was composed of several live-action segments, hosted by a manufactured rock band called Captain Cool and the Kongs, who were a wacky glam rock band created for the series. The Season 1 segments included Dr. Shrinker, starring Jay Robinson as a mad scientist who creates a shrinking ray that can miniaturize anything. Wonderbug is the story of an anthropomorphic living dune buggy, which was loosely modeled after Disney's Herbie the Love Bug. In the second season of the Krofft Super Show, Magic Mongo debuted. When 3 teenagers find an old bottle they discover it is the home of a genie named Mongo, and his magical attempts to help his young masters lead to many wacky adventures. And my personal favorite segment, Bigfoot and Wild Boy. When a young orphan is lost in the vast wilderness of the Northwest, the legendary Bigfoot finds and raises the boy as his own. 8 years later, the team of Bigfoot and Wild Boy fight crime and aliens who show up around their forest home. The last segment that debuted in Season 1 of the Krofft Super Show is the subject of our Thrift Box today. It was the superhero-themed Electra Woman and Dyna Girl.
Electra woman and Dyna girl, fighting all evil deeds. Each writes for a magazine, hiding the life she leads. Electra woman and Dyna girl. Summon to Electra
This segment follows the crime-fighting exploits of caped superhero Electra Woman, played by Deidre Hall, and her teen sidekick Dyna Girl, played by Judy Strangis. Both women worked as, of course, reporters for Newsmaker magazine, under the secret identities of Lori and Judy. Their last names were never given. In each episode, the duo fights a variety of supervillains. Using their Electra powers, they change costumes in a flash of light called the Electra Change. They get around town in their Electra car, and they use their wrist-mounted Electrocomms to keep in contact with Electra Base. Stationed at Electra Base is scientist Frank Heflin, who created their fantastic Electra gadgets and keeps track of criminals with the sophisticated CrimeScope computer. Frank Heflin was played by Norman Alden, who fans of the 1970s Super Friends will recognize as the voice of Aquaman. The wrist-powered Electrocomms were all-purpose devices. They could function as two-way radios with video capability, be used as scanners that would allow the duo to see through buildings to find villains. They could emit a focused beam of energy called an Electra Beam, allow the characters to defy gravity with the Electra Degravitate, break through steel beams with the Electra Force, emit energy shields with the Electra Force Shield, and they had various other functions. Electra Freeze, Electra Split, Electra Strobe, Electra Vibe, you get the idea. They were MacGuffins. Electra Woman and Dyna Girl fought a variety of enemies on their series, including the Sorcerer, the Empress of Evil, Ali Baba, Glitter Rock, the Spider Lady, and the Pharaoh. The series was very similar to the 1966 Batman television show starring Adam West and Burt Ward, not only with the idea of various gadgets, a specialized car, and a secret lair, but also in the camp tone of the series. This was especially evident with the character of Dyna Girl, who would often make exclamations like, "Electra wow" and "Electra awesome," mirroring the way in which Burt Ward's Robin used to yell, "Holy, fill in the blank." Electra Woman and Dyna Girl ran for 16 12-minute episodes during the first season of the Krofft Super Show. The show's star, Deidre Hall, would go on to play her best-known role as the character of Marlena Evans on the long-running daytime soap opera Days of Our Lives. Dyna Girl actress Judy Strangis went on to perform many guest spots, as well as voice roles in various television series, including The A-Team, Matt Houston, My Little Pony, The Real Ghostbusters, and Batman the Animated Series. Norman Alden had a lengthy career in movies and television, both before and after Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. And for you Transformers fans, he played the voices of Kranix and Arbalest in Transformers the movie. Back in the year 2000, Art Asylum created one wave of action figures based on the world of Sid and Marty Krofft. These figures included the title character from HR Pufnstuf, as well as Kling and Clang, two Keystone Cops type characters from that same show. Also, the title character from the show Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, and a figure of Electra Woman. And here is that figure of Electra Woman. She comes with the stand with the Krofft Superstars logo on it. She also has her wrist-mounted Electrocom, which comes as a separate accessory. And she has a cloth goods cape, about the same length as the one the character wore on the television show. She doesn't have a great deal of articulation, but this was in 2000 before Marvel Legends took off and everything became super articulated. So she's got shoulder articulation as well as elbows, but you can only get them in certain positions. She can turn her head slightly, and she's got hip articulation, but nothing below the hips. No knees, no ankles. So pretty much you can only get her in a very few poses. The figure features her very colorful costume from the television show, while her face sculpt is very generic. It's a good sculpt, but it does not really look like Deidre Hall, I don't think. I'm assuming they did not get the likeness rights for the actress for just a small series of figures. Despite the popularity of all the 1970s Sid and Marty Krofft shows, there was very little in the way of toy merchandise available for those shows. And the Krofft Superstars from Art Asylum only lasted that one wave. Despite the brief run that Electra Woman and Dyna Girl enjoyed in the 1970s, there have been 2 reboots of the property. The first came in 2001, which was a pilot for the WB television network. This reboot of the series starred Marky Post of Night Court as Electra Woman and Ann Stedman as a new Dyna Girl. As with many superhero productions during that time, this pilot was written as a cynical parody of the original show, set 25 years after the original series, with a retired Electra Woman brought back into action by a fan who ends up becoming the new Dyna Girl. This version of Electra Woman, as portrayed by Marky Post, is a disillusioned, bitter, chain-smoking alcoholic who lives in a trailer park. Years before, her husband left her for the original Dyna Girl, taking all her money and her car with him. Obviously, this pilot was never picked up for series. It is available to watch on YouTube, and although I thought Marky Post did a good job with what she had to work with, this take on Electra Woman really wasn't my cup of tea. The second reboot came in 2016 in an 8-episode web series starring YouTube personalities Grace Helbig as Electra Woman and Hannah Hart as Dyna Girl. In this series, the duo are amateur superheroes who fight crime in their local city of Akron, Ohio. After a video of them taking down 2 robbers goes viral, they are discovered by an agency called Creative Masked Management, who relocate them to Los Angeles and give them an agent that works to enhance both their image and their powers. This was a more comedic take on the characters, created for the YouTube generation. Again, not my cup of tea, since I'm a fan of the old school 1970s camp style show. That's it for today's Thrift Box and my look at this Electra Woman figure and a little history of Sid and Marty Krofft. If there's anyone watching that's around my age who probably watched all the Krofft productions in the 1970s, which one was your favorite? Of course, the correct answer being Land of the Lost. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.